Stop pursuing success as if it's running away from you. It's not. It's waiting still, waiting for you to develop into the version of you that can finally handle it. This isn't luck. This isn't talent. This is discipline, preparation, mindset, and magnetism to the life you desire. Today, right now, is the day you stop demanding more and begin becoming more. This is your wake-up call. Let's build the version of you that success can't ignore. Success is drawn to the person you become, not to that which you pursue. This thought may be easy to think, but contains a profound wisdom about how things work. Most people live in pursuit. They pursue money, accolades, recognition, or extrinsic rewards, convinced that when they get them, everything will be all right. But here's the issue with that strategy. Pursuing success is akin to pursuing the wind. The more you pursue it, the farther away it goes. The trick isn't in the pursuit, but in the growth of character, discipline, and mind. When you become more comes to you naturally. Just as a magnet does not pursue metal but attracts it because of what it is, you start to attract opportunities, wealth, and relationships when you become a value. The actual question is not, how do I get more, but how do I become more? Because the world compensates you for the value you offer, and value is created through growth. It results from broadening your skills, enhancing your attitude, enriching your knowledge, and fine-tuning your discipline. Consider this. You were offered $1 million chance today. Would you be the type of person capable of taking care of it? The majority of individuals believe that they desire more money or freedom or influence, but they have not yet developed the habits, accountability, and mental toughness to handle it. It's not about success falling in your lap. It's about being someone who consistently attracts it on a daily basis because of who you are and how you do things. There are individuals out there who are doing mediocrity, yet living an extraordinary life. Why? Because they've been working for years on building themselves. They didn't show up to work each day. They showed up to work on themselves each day. That's the distinction. They read, learned, practiced, failed, stood up again, honed, perfected, learned from coaches, and developed. And then they became someone success couldn't help but notice. You see, you must think of yourself as a seed. Day after day, you're either watering yourself with growth or dehydrating yourself with neglect. If you nourish your mind, develop your abilities, and construct better habits, you will grow into a tree that produces fruit. But if you don't change, if you ignore your development or whine instead of grow, you're stuck. This isn't always easy. This doesn't always feel pleasant. Growth is getting uncomfortable. It's doing the hard thing whether anyone is looking or not. It's saying no to distractions and yes to discipline. But the reward is huge. You start walking different, talking different, thinking clearer, acting bolder. And that type of personal change sends messages out into the world. People take notice. Opportunities take notice. It's not magic, it's momentum. And momentum grows each time you decide growth over comfort. Now let's discuss discipline, because it is the passage from goals and success. Without discipline, goals are dreams. You can have the best of intentions in the world, but without steady action, intention is nothing. Discipline is acting on what must be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's following through on your plan when you're exhausted, when it's uninteresting, when no one is applauding you. Discipline is not necessarily about gritting through. It's about becoming a person who doesn't need to grit anymore. It becomes a part of who you are, something internal rather than external. Discipline is a subtle energy that constructs empires, not in a flash, but gradually. You don't have to be the best gifted. You don't have to have the ideal background. You just have to be disciplined, be consistent, show up each day, do the work. Study the craft, get better at thinking. Discipline makes you go from average to greatness, not by some single heroic moment, but by 1,000 little decisions made over and over, day after day. It's reading when you might scroll, practicing when you might put it off, following through when you might quit. Consider a bricklayer. He lays 1 brick a day, just one. Sometimes it doesn't seem like much, but one day you look up and there's a wall, then a house, then a fortress. That's discipline. It's what constructs the unseen architecture of success in the background. You can't skip this step. You can't pretend. And no one else can do it for you. Discipline is your own promise to yourself that declares, I will not give up. I will not be mediocre. I will not live below my potential. When you mix discipline with expansion, you are a force. and forces draw results. Everyone seeks motivation. Motivation, however, is fleeting. Discipline remains. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. You're seeking success for the long run. You need inspiration alone. You need structure, routines, and habits that keep you steady when life gets loud. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline allows you to push forward even when your emotions want to hold you back. And that's powerful. When you're disciplined, you cease to react and begin to create. You cease complaining and begin to build. You don't hope for outcomes. You anticipate them because you know you've put in the work. Discipline conditions your mind to complete what you initiate, to get up when it's difficult, to forego pleasure for purpose. And all of that creates character, and character is what success is attracted to. Success isn't out there somewhere in hiding. It's just waiting on you to harmonize with its frequency, to upgrade your thinking, to upgrade your habits, to build instead of blame, to be the type of person that success notices. And the quickest way to get to that level is discipline. Wake up with intention. Begin your day with focus. Keep your word. Do the mundane stuff, complete what you begin. Communicate with purpose. Think with vision. Move with integrity. Discipline develops these habits. Man, these habits draw success to you like gravity. Discipline is not punishment. It's freedom. Because when you've gained control over yourself, nothing else can gain control over you. You're not ruled by moods, distractions, or opinions anymore. You move with purpose. You live on mission. And people take notice. They see your consistency. They trust your word. They respect your time. And once that begins to happen, success is not far away. Because success adores individuals who are reliable, individuals who are responsible, disciplined, and dialed in. That's what you need to become. So yes, success is drawn to the person you are. But changing from who you are now to who you have to be is fueled by discipline. That's the connection. That's the energy. Each decision, each step, it's molding you. You're either getting nearer to the person who draws success, or you're going farther away. The decision is yours. And it begins today. You don't get what you want, you get what you deserve, and it is accomplished through effort. That's one of the most uncomfortable truths people don't want to hear. But it's one of the most important lessons if you're serious about changing your life. Wishing for success doesn't create it. Deserving success is what makes it happen. Wanting something is easy. Everybody wants something. They desire to be wealthy. They desire to be respected. They desire to live free. But few are willing to do what it takes to worthy of those things. And the universe life, whatever you choose to name it, it rewards people for what they've earned, not what they've wanted. You can't sit on your couch, imagine your dreams, and expect it to knock at your door. That's not how it works. Effort is the currency of progress. And not haphazard, sporadic effort, structured, directed, disciplined effort that accumulates over time. You receive out of life precisely what you put into it. That's the equation. Don't anticipate 100% returns if you're only putting in 30% effort. If you're inconsistent in your habits, don't act surprised when your results are volatile. The reward you receive is always commensurate with work you've done, lessons you've gained, and pain you've endured. You must become a person that success desires to reward. That involves cultivating discipline when nobody is looking. That involves reading the books, learning the lessons, grinding when it's not cool. Most people work only when they feel motivated. But the ones who succeed in life, they perform when it's dull, when it's tedious, when it's raining, when it's isolated. And because of that, they start to create deservability. You don't get fit by contemplating it. You earn it with every repetition. Every good meal, every early morning when the bed is too cozy to get out of. The same with business, relationships, development. Anything of value is earned, not given. Think of success like a locked vault. The key isn't luck or wishes. It's personal development and consistent action. You become better, and better things open up to you. The doors that were once closed begin to unlock. Not because the world changes, but because you changed. You grew into someone who can handle those opportunities. That's how life tests you. It doesn't ask, do you want it? It poses a question. Are you prepared? Have you prepared? Are you prepared? Have you cultivated the mindset, the discipline, the character necessary to navigate this amount of life? For unprepared success is hazardous, and life is aware. So stop requesting more until you've accomplished more. Stop expecting better and begin constructing better. Life isn't avoiding you. It's holding on for you. The mirror doesn't lie. You can look at your results and know what type of effort you've been giving. And that's either empowering or discouraging depending on how you react. Change what you're doing if what you see doesn't please you. If you want different results, become a different you, one that earns it. Now here's another truth. Opportunity shows up when you grow, not when you wait. Waiting is the most dangerous thing a person can get into the habit of doing. Waiting for the right time, waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect plan. That's a trap mentality. Growth makes opportunity. Action brings direction. You can't wait your way to breakthrough. You need to work your way through. When you expand your skills, when you expand your mindset, when you expand your network, the world around you starts to respond. Doors open. People take notice. Ideas click. But none of it happens when you're standing still and waiting for life to do something to you. Growth is movement. It's progress. It's letting the universe know you mean business. And as you move, clarity arrives. The right people start to appear. The journey starts to open up, not all at one time, but step by step. And as each time you expand, you open yourself up to new levels of possibility. Consider video games. You don't get to level 10 until you finish level 9. Life is no different. You're not being overlooked. You're merely still on a level that cannot accommodate what you are seeking. So, what is the answer? Level up. Sharpen your edge. You'll build more value. Do what you already have to the best of your ability. Don't wait for something better to come along. Become better, and what you're looking for will find you. Waiting makes you rusty. Growth makes you ready. Opportunities don't go to the most hopeful. They go to the most prepared. And preparation doesn't happen when you're standing still. It occurs when you challenge yourself to stretch outside your comfort zone. That's where the actual growth occurs. In the tough conversations, the solitary seasons, the grind of daily life when nobody applauds for you. Each minute you invest in growing, you're putting yourself in position for next level opportunities. Each ability you learn, each vulnerability you address, each habit you own, it's creating your ability to manage the next level. It's amusing how we pray for more, yet shy away from the very process that brings about more. Growth is not glamorous. It's frequently slow, frustrating, and imperceptible. But it's the single guarantee that your life will never remain the same again. You may not dictate the timing, but you do get to choose your development. That's your role. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's the cumulative effect of everyday effort, sincere introspection, and persistent striving for excellence. The attitude must change from "I hope this happens" to "I'm becoming the type of person it happens to." That's a new game. You don't get stuck waiting. You get busy becoming. You become smarter. You correct your flaws. You ask better questions. You push further. You keep promises to yourself. And that type of personal development is attracting. It attracts opportunities. It attracts people. It draws ideas, resources, connections, all the things people think only come to the lucky or the chosen, but that's a myth. They come to the ready. There is no better time than now to grow. You may not feel like it. You may not know where to start. But the moment you commit to becoming more, everything begins to shift. You no longer operate from fear. You no longer beg for opportunities. You create them. Growth puts you in a position of power. It gives you courage. It gives you the power to walk into situations and say, "I've prepared for this. I've built for this. I've earned this." Opportunities abound, but only for the prepared. The question is, will you be prepared when they knock? Because they will knock. Not on your time, not in your comfort zone, but they'll come. And when they do, you won't have to chase them. You won't have to hope. You'll just get up, seize the moment, and walk through the door you built with your own hands. Success answers to preparation, not desperation. It's one of the most basic facts of life, yet most people ignore it. It doesn't matter how badly you need something, you're not going to get it. You can't get wealth by needing money. You can't achieve success by needing opportunity. Needing a breakthrough isn't going to lead to a breakthrough. Life doesn't produce results on the basis of desperation. It produces them on the basis of preparedness. And preparedness is created through preparation. The type of preparation that goes on behind the scenes in secret, in discipline, in repetition, and in commitment. You can just go around yelling about how much you need a better life, but until you've put in the work to prepare for it, you won't be able to keep it when it arrives. Success is not drawn to need. It's drawn to mastery, to effort, to those who've honed their tools before they go onto the battlefield. It's planting a seed. You can cry all day long about needing a harvest, but if you never broke up the soil, watered it, and let it sit, you'll never get anything but dry dirt. Need doesn't alter the soil. Preparation does. They say if only I had more time, more money, more help, I'd do it. But success doesn't pay attention to that. It pays attention to who put in the work. And not just once, but repeatedly. Preparation is doing things when you don't want to. It's practicing your work even when nobody's looking. It's giving up things today to create what you want tomorrow. The world's greatest competitors don't win because they required the gold medal. They win because they worked harder than anyone. They studied longer, practiced in pain, and remained consistent when everyone else cut corners. The same is applicable in all areas: business, relationships, leadership, personal development. If you prepare yourself with discipline, knowledge, habits, and focus, success will find you sooner or later. Not because you pleaded for it, but because you constructed yourself into someone that it trusts. Success is earned quietly and publicly revealed. The majority wish the public benefits, but not the behind-the-scenes preparation. They wish the result without the effort, but success is not that way. It's not a game of chance, it's a recipe. And the key to that recipe is preparation. Preparation is what gets you prepared before the time comes. It's what provides you with the confidence to stand up when opportunity knocks. Those who are not prepared get panicky when the limelight falls on them. But those who have worked, those shine. Not because they are lucky, but because they are prepared. They have been working in the dark for this very moment. And when that day arrives, they don't need to prepare, they are prepared. That's the magic of preparation. It positions you before life requires you to deliver. Preparation also shields you from regret. When you've done everything you can, even if it doesn't go the way you wanted to, you walk away in peace. But if you've been coasting, putting it off, waiting, and then the moment slips away from you, you're left with nothing but what ifs. Regret is a heavier burden than discipline, so make a decision to prepare, make a decision to build. Make a decision to take action now, so when opportunity comes, you're not running after it, you're greeting it. Now let's discuss how tiny everyday steps add up to huge outcomes. This is another success law that people undervalue. They believe change happens through great moments. They're expecting breakthroughs, flashes of brilliance, breaks. But the reality is, success happens from tiny decisions piled high over time. It's brushing your teeth every day, not every month. It's reading 10 pages a day, not reading one book per year. It's making that final call, lingering 10 minutes past the time, writing that extra paragraph. They don't feel big in the moment, but eventually they build into something unstoppable. Consider a lone drop of water. Individually, it doesn't appear to amount to much, but numerous drops can cut through rock. This is the power of consistency. One drop over and over becomes an unstoppable force. Most stop because they don't get immediate feedback. They're underestimating how strong their habits are because the feedback takes time. But don't be fooled. Every behavior you practice is a vote for the type of person you are becoming. And those votes are daily, not all at once, but eventually. They compound, they accumulate, they gain momentum. Discipline isn't about doing great things. It's about repeating little things over and over until they generate mind-blowing results. Wake up early, eat clean, focus on gratitude, train your mind, stay focused. These aren't sexy things to do, but they are potent, and they distinguish between people who grow and people who remain stuck. Most humans are addicted to intensity. They crave big wins quickly, but success rewards consistency. The individual who walks 1 mile a day will travel farther in a year than the individual who runs 10 miles once a month. Your habits are your future hiding in plain sight. What you do every day is creating who you will be, and you're either constructing a future you desire or floating into one you don't. There isn't middle ground. Every time you say action instead of excuses, discipline instead of ease, growth instead of laziness, you're laying bricks. And one day you'll have a wall of consequence so solid no setback can topple it. They speak of momentum as if it were some kind of magic, but it is simply the payoff of day-to-day work. You do the work even when it's unexciting, and one day it suddenly works. The burden lightens, the mind clarifies, the way becomes clear. And that's when folks begin referring to you as luck. But you will know it was not luck. It was layers of minor choices that no one observed. That is the way. You become the type of human being who people look up to, not because you took one giant leap, but because you took 1,000 little steps in the right direction. Consistency also makes you trust yourself. When you consistently show up, you start trusting your capability. You stop bargaining with laziness. You stop arguing with yourself. You start living with integrity. And that self-belief turns into fuel. It compels you when motivation is an absent visitor. It keeps you grounded when the world chips at your foundation. Since you've conditioned yourself to get the job done no matter how you feel. And that's an ability the majority of humans don't ever get. There's something holy about keeping your promises, your little ones. It sends a message to the world, and more significantly to yourself, that you mean business. That you don't require hype to get moving. That you don't need affirmation to keep going. You move because it's who you are now. That type of identity is constructed, not inherited. And it's constructed in the tiny moments when you could quit but don't. When you could put things off but decide to take action instead. When you could conceal yourself but choose to confront your work and your growth despite. Your future is concealed in your habits. All the great successes you look up to rest on thousands of minuscule decisions. That's the secret game. And the players who play it patiently, every day with purpose, those are the ones that win. Not once, but repeatedly, because they didn't depend on mood or luck or timing. They depended on systems, on values, on being there day after day, piling win on win, until success became a matter of course. Don't wish for fewer problems, develop more skills. That mindset alone can shift the entire course of someone's life. The habit of wishing away problems, obstacles, or setbacks is deeply ingrained in most people. But problems aren't the issue. The issue is how equipped you are to handle them. Life will never be free of challenges. It wasn't designed that way. Each new height of success, each new opportunity, each breakthrough has its own complications. Rather than asking for the road to be smoother, then it makes much more sense to set out to become a better driver. You don't get rid of problems as you get older. Your problems get better. The stressed out individual living paycheck to paycheck in a small apartment dreams of earning 5 figures, and somehow his problems will vanish. But when they get there, new challenges arise. Taxes, investments, growth management, team leading. The difficulties don't go away. They morph. And if you don't continue to develop your skill set, you'll get buried regardless of how much you've accomplished. So the objective has to be ongoing development. Not ease, not comfort, growth. Success isn't about preventing pressure. It's about meeting it. About facing it head on confidently since you prepared yourself for it. Just as players don't wish for weaker rivals, but rather train harder, stronger, wiser to face anyone. You have to do the same to life. To lead, influence, earn, build, and leave a mark, you have to acquire the ability to face difficulties without shattering. That ability is attained through honing your skills. Emotional, intellectual, practical, and interpersonal. Skills are the tools that cut your path through struggles. Communication, discipline, emotional control, imagination, leadership. These are not gifts, they're honed skills. And the beauty of skills is they don't concern themselves with where you're from. They can be gotten by anyone who practices. Each issue that confronts you is an opportunity to learn, to be stronger, wiser, more elegant. If you flee from issues, you flee from growth as well. But when you meet them as a student, you emerge stronger each time. Rather than hoping life becomes simpler, ask how you can become more intelligent. Rather than expecting others to change, become the influence that leads them. Rather than grumbling that things are not fair, become the strength that wins in spite of it. Challenges are merely signs indicating where your next level needs to occur. They reveal the holes in your character and your readiness. And that is not something to fear. That is something to seize. Because once you become someone who sees growth through challenge, you become unbreakable. The most successful individuals you look up to aren't problem-free. They've merely become master problem solvers. And so can you. It begins by swapping frustration for curiosity. When something goes awry, rather than complaining, why me? Complain, what can I learn? Rather than clamming up in the clutch, ask, which skill do I need to acquire to deal with this better next time? That mindset swap brings you from helpless to empowered. And once you start living from that mindset, every problem is never wasted. Now, when you take on that growth mindset, something else starts to occur. Your entire world starts to change. Because when you shift, everything in your world starts to shift. That's not a motivational plaque. It's a cause and effect reality. Your mindsets produce actions. Your actions produce outcomes. And your outcomes affect your world. You're the origin of everything that occurs in your life. Waiting for things to happen before you act is like looking into a mirror and waiting for the reflection to smile first. Individuals spend years cursing circumstances, individuals' luck, or timing for the reason they're stuck. But the reality is that the exterior merely mirrors the interior. If your life is loaded with tension, dispute, scarcity, confusion, it's not merely the globe performing it to you. It's your internal programming creating that experience. Alter your patterns, alter your mindset, alter your expectations, and observe how the individuals, opportunities, and results in your world start to change. You walk differently when your self-worth increases. You no longer accept what drained you before. You begin to attract individuals who resonate on the same level. You no longer react and begin to respond. You no longer wish and start manifesting. It all starts within. When you increase your level of thinking, your life begins to level up with it. That's why personal development is not a choice. It's mandatory. Because your life never exceeds your standards. It never surpasses your self-image. What you think about yourself puts the ceiling in place. So when you modify your beliefs about what's possible, about what you deserve, about how much you can handle, you take the ceiling away. You push the boundaries, and your outside world scrambles to keep pace with your new inside identity. Need better results. Start thinking and behaving like the version of yourself who already has them. Live today with the mindset, habits, and energy of that person. And with time, reality begins to shift in that direction. That's the beauty of internal change. It's quiet but powerful. No one sees it happening at first. But eventually they notice. They start asking, what happened to you? They sense the difference. They feel the clarity, the peace, the intention. That's the unseen change that produces seen transformation. You don't need to push anymore. You don't need to plead for opportunities or pursue people's notice. Because now you're drawing those things in by being a person who demands them naturally. Altering your inner world is also how you take charge of your life. Because just maybe you don't control the weather, the market, or the economy. But you always can control your reaction, your preparation, and your concentration. You become proactive rather than reactive. You build solutions rather than wait for them. You drive the room rather than getting lost in it. And with time, that control accelerates. You become a builder of momentum, of confidence, of results, which is why doing work on yourself is never time wasted. Every hour you spend learning, every habit you build, every book you read, every act of self-discipline, it's all building towards your transformation. And that transformation informs everything else. You cease being the victim of your circumstance and begin to be the architect of your reality. That's true power. Not controlling others, not manipulating results, but becoming the type of person who influences the world because of who they are, what they think, and how they live. When you transform, your values do as well. Your expectations increase. Your time is more valuable. Your energy is more concentrated. You don't merely desire success, you demand it because you've constructed the internal framework to hold it. And the world reacts. New discussions occur. Other doors opened. Unexpected assistance showed up. Not because the world had gotten kinder, but because you knew you made the conditions for all of it to be possible. You raised your level of presence. You modified your mind. You became someone that life could trust with more. And so more arrived. You've been instructed to run after success. But now you understand the truth. Success isn't something you run after. It's something you attract. And attraction doesn't start with luck. It starts with growth. You attract success by being a person of value, by being present with consistency, with purpose, with preparation. Not when it is easy, but when it is hard. Not when everyone's looking, but when no one sees the grind. You don't get what you want. You get what you deserve. Deserve comes from action day to day. From skill development, not shortcuts begged, from choosing development over excuses. You've learned to stop asking for fewer problems and instead ask for more strength, more wisdom, more skill. You've learned that life rewards preparation, not waiting. You've witnessed how consistent small efforts build into gigantic change. Not overnight, not in bursts, but in the subtle, hidden work, the kind that creates champs. And most important, you've witnessed the truth. Undefined, when you shift, everything shifts. Undefined, your surroundings transform. Your mentality clears, your outcomes ignite. The world doesn't give you success. It bounces back the energy you project. So bring energy, bring intention, bring blaze. The version of you brings success isn't born. It's constructed, done from today on. You're constructing it. Don't chase, attract. Don't wait, prepare. Don't wish, become. The time isn't later. It's now.